Welcome back, everyone. I'm out in the shop again. I have to button up a project that I've been working on for the last week or so. I did add a couple of things to this bike just because you know, we run this thing sometimes in colder weather. So I put on some heated grips. I'll show you those real quick and what I picked up. I didn't bring you along for the installation on that. They're pretty straightforward. But there is a little trick if you have these old Yamahas that you can use to make your life a little bit easier. I'll show you a little bit what I've done on this with how I mounted the GPS, which I think is pretty nice and a highly recommended method now that I've done it. But I'll bring you along for that right now, and we'll just see how far we get. I think it shouldn't be that hard to put this back together. It's just cosmetic trim, and I think the wiring is where I want it right now. Everything seems to work just fine. So I'm going to start putting this back together as quick as I can so I can get it moved out of here. And then maybe I'll take it on a little test ride today. It's nice and cold. It's sunny, so it's not nasty out there, but it is really cold and windy. That would be a good way to check out these grips and see if they even work. All right, so one thing that I put on here was my old GPS, like I mentioned. It's a Magellan Explorist old 210. They make several models in this configuration, but Ram Mounts actually still makes this holder for this GPS. Check that out. You can still buy it, so I figured I'd pick it up before they discontinue it if they ever do. What's nice about this unit is you can actually just loosen up. You can just loosen up this knob and you can change the position, but it's so solid. And I mean, I really recommend this thing. It's got a handlebar mount right here, and you can see that here. I'll kind of get close to that. There's a handlebar mount here, and then this really heavy-duty plastic, and I think it's a metal ball. It feels like it. At least it has some grip on it, but it's just rock solid. I mean, it's so tight, and so I'm not worried about that moving at all. And then, of course, if I need to upgrade this, or I want to, mount my phone to this, or if I end up getting another GPS that's better or bigger, all I have to do is buy this little mount right there, and that's pretty cheap, a couple of dollars for that. And then I just got this. This is your expensive part. So nice way to upgrade this. The other thing I did was put these heated grips on here. What are these things? Quad Boss. I got these on Amazon. They're made by another company that's pretty common. They go under several different brands, but they were about 50 bucks. And I like the design of the grips. They didn't seem super chunky and fat, and they actually have a lot of grip to them. I found, I don't know if you can see it in here very well, but it's right here. Let me see if I can pull it out of here. It's right here. Let's see, yeah, okay. Hard to explain, easy to put on. There's this little pigtail, and I'll link the name of this in the description if you guys are interested in this. But this is a Yamaha part, and it gives you 2 taps. Right here, these are bullet connectors. I have one connected over here to the grips with a fuse. It's got its own fuse on it. And then I have an extra one right here that I could use for lights or a relay or something else, because I've switched power. And so a lot of the newer bikes, you're able to use this plug, and they have an auxiliary or an accessory plug that's open, and you can plug this into it, and then you get 2 12-volt taps off of it, which is really handy. Well, on this bike, I didn't have that, so I was able to track down just with my multimeter. It took quite a while. I was able to track down this switched power, meaning it turns on and off with the ignition switch. Okay, and I found that this was the only circuit hooked to the brake light. So the tail lights are on with the normal lighting circuit, and the only thing on this switched power is the tail light. So I have a feeling that this is meant to be like an accessory thing. You could probably put your tail light and a turn signal circuit or something like that on there. But I figured, even with the draw that these grips are going to take, it's going to be well under 10 amps, which is what this fuse is, or what this circuit is protected by. If I hook this up to the ignition, and let's say I blow a fuse from, the stupid heated grips, which I don't need, and it shuts off my whole ignition system, that wouldn't be good. If it shuts off my brake light, I'm okay with that. I can make it home, and I'm not too worried about that. But we'll find out how that goes down and if that works. So now I just got to button everything back up and kind of get everything pushed back into place and squished back into place. I just got to put this thing back together really simple. I have it grounded to the factory ground wire location right here. So that should be a good solid ground. It's all made for that and everything. So it should be a pretty clean install, and I have tested them a little bit. You know, they do get warm, but I haven't really taken them out and seeing if they are super effective yet. So I don't think I've ever shared this with you guys, but if you ever want to know what the best tie downs that I've found for, you know, ATVs, motorcycles, and that type of stuff, I know a lot of guys use these for motorcycles, but I've used these for years. This is a BikeMaster. Let's see if you can see here. It's like 1.5 inches thick, but I'll show you what I like about these because they're actually sort of a dual purpose or a double duty type of tie down, and I'll show you why that is. Okay, so the deal is when you have a tie down like this, you know, you want something that, you know, it's always irritating when you tie something down and it twists up, but this has a really nice carabiner locking clip on it, and you basically just grab it like that, and then it has a swivel on it, so it doesn't matter which way you put this on, you can always straighten it out. So this one has a soft strap kind of built into it, and so you'll have this standard, you know, kind of carabiner clip right here, which usually you'd have to tie around your own, you know, a soft strap, and then you don't want to, because you don't want to damage up your, you know, damage your motorcycle or your bars or whatever you're tying onto. So the way this works is it has a soft strap built into it. I don't know if you can see that, kind of doing this quick, but basically what you do is you wrap this around whatever handlebar or your frame, and then that clips into there. So then you have this nice, you know, really, you know, it just doesn't scratch up anything, and it's really durable and strong. Then you have this really nice, of course, you know, just a friction standard, you know, strap deal, and they're really tough. But I would recommend them. They're not super expensive, but I've always liked using these. I got 4 of them, one for each corner, and I just kind of crisscross them on the bike, and I've never had these things move a fraction of an inch. They've always been really tough. Again, probably a little bit overkill for an enclosed trailer, but remember, I didn't always have this enclosed trailer. I was running, you know, just a standard flatbed style trailer when I first got the ATV. So, you know, I think that this is a pretty good value for what you get. So I'm gonna go out and take a little test ride on this thing. I got my turtle fur, whatever you call this thing. It's kind of cold out here. It's actually pretty darn cold. I'm gonna put my helmet on, and then I'm gonna see what this thing rides like with these heated grips, and see if it makes any difference at all. If I can ride with thinner gloves, that'd be nice without getting cold. I've heard they work pretty darn good, but I'm gonna check it out right now. It doesn't look that cold out, but it's not when there's no wind, but there's a ton of wind, and it looks like the water in the ditch is frozen, so it's below freezing. So yeah, that wind chill is just bone chilling. So I'm gonna see how this does and give it a shot here real quick. GPS is working good. It's pretty cool. These grips are super hot. I had to turn them down to about half. They're actually kind of uncomfortably hot on your hands, so they do warm up, and so, you know, I could use these with probably some light gloves, and I'd be comfortable in, I mean, right now it just keeps your hands so warm that it's super nice, so I'm pretty happy with that. You can always turn them down, but I just wanted to see how hot they would get. And yeah, after about 10 or 15 minutes, it's almost uncomfortable if you just continuously hold on to it, and they're still warm. I can feel it now. So I'm gonna kind of keep messing around with that and just seeing. It looks like all the systems are working good, but I'm pretty happy with it so far, so I'm gonna keep going.